We're here with Bridgewater head men's basketball coach Shawn Postiglione. Shawn, can you talk a little bit about how the first semester games went here in your first season with mostly new roster?
Yeah, pretty much an entirely new roster, Jimmy. I think the big takeaway for us is being very as young and inexperienced as we came into the season. I've been pleased with how competitive we've been. I think in pretty much essentially every single game, we've been either right there, we've been leading by double digits in some games against some good competition. We're 0-4 when leading at the halftime, so that's something we got to get better at. But I think with a lot of guys that came in unproven to the college level, they've shown in bursts that they're capable of competing with a very, very large swath of teams, including some of the better teams in our league. Being able to beat Lynchburg, pick preseason number 2 here at Nininger in November, and being very competitive against Guilford College, and even last week at the Don Glick Classic, leading an Averett team, which is having a great season, being up 11 with 10 minutes to go. I think that shows the potential of this team. We have to do a much better job of closing out games and making the winning plays down the stretch in terms of getting stops, getting defensive rebounds, and finishing plays at the basket on offense. But I think that a lot of that has to do with our youth and inexperience. We haven't had guys that have gotten reps, gotten minutes in those kind of situations. So hopefully the fact that we've played so many close games and we've been in so many games here will really pay dividends, and we can start to finish games off here in the second half of the year.
Yeah, you beat Transylvania, lost to St. Mary's, I think just by 5. Those teams have both been in the NCAA tournament within the last 3 years,
yep.
But maybe haven't performed as well in some of the other games. Is that just a consistency that will come with this group?
I hope so. But yes, that inconsistency, and even you look at our record, 2-6. Obviously, at the end of the day, you are what your record is, and so we have to do better to win some of these games, especially once you get into the ODAC play here coming up in a couple weeks. But 5 of our 6 losses, we were either winning in the game, or 4 of our 6 losses were by 6 points or less. So that's very, very small margin for error, right? They're talking about 2 possessions. So ideally, as we, like I said, play those types of games, and when you start 4 freshmen a lot of nights, those guys, it's a much different level from high school, so they're not used to those kind of crunch time atmosphere that you get at the high level college basketball, that the good teams that we're playing against. So hopefully now that we take that first semester and we've played those games now, and we're going to continue to work on it and practice situational stuff in practice, so that when we are faced with hopefully we continue to be very competitive, and in these types of games come January and February, and we can finally get the job done more often than not.
Now, for the games I've seen, I have been impressed with the intensity of the players. Some of the movement on offense, I think, has been better this year. We've heard you've really been pushing guys hard in practice. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys have been working on, in practices, and sort of where you think the team is moving?
Sure. I think we've definitely taken great strides since we started on October 15th. And that's one of the drawbacks of Division III is you have a very small window to really get yourself prepared before the games begin. But I think our offense has gotten progressively better. We have some guys that can put the ball in the basket. So if we're able to cut hard and space the floor, I think we're going to always have the opportunity during games to get good looks and be able to hopefully put the ball in the basket. So that's gotten a lot better, and we need to continue to make strides on offense. We try to, like I said in our preseason talk, we're trying to get better every day, and I think the only way you do that is by constantly pushing yourself, giving that max effort every single day in practice, and we've worked really hard the first half of the year. Now, as again the conference play, and now the other part of having young and inexperienced guys is, especially guys coming right from high school as who are freshmen, they've never been in the season this long. If this is like the equivalent of like the 3/4 of the way mark for a typical high school season in terms of the games we played, the amount of practices we've had, but we're only not even at the halfway mark of our season. We only played 8 games, still have 17 more regular season games, 16 more regular season games to go. So we have to, we'll start scaling back in terms of the time we're on the court, but the intensity, how much effort we put into every rep we take, and how we prepare for upcoming opponents, that's not going to change. We're continuing to try to do it at a very high level to give ourselves that competitive advantage as we go into ODAC play.
Well, if you want another shock to the system of some of these new players, your next game at Division I VMI, it's actually going to be broadcast on ESPN3, so I think that's an exciting moment for the program. But can you talk a little bit about what you're going to try to do in that game?
Sure. It's anytime you can play against that high level competition, it really will give you an insight into where you're really at. And VMI is another, obviously, has had a lot of success under Coach Duger Balcom the last, 6, 7, 8 years. Now they're in a new league with a new coach in the Southern Conference now with Coach Dan Earl, longtime Navy assistant. Coach Earl's doing a really good job with them. They've been winning some games, playing a lot of teams tough. I know some of their personnel. They have some Virginia guys I've seen them play in high school, and since they've been in college, and they're very good. They're built to be an athletic team, a quick team, a team that has some scores. So we're gonna, have to do what we do every day in terms of taking care of the ball and taking good shots and putting the ball in the basket, but also getting stops and being able to battle them on the boards. The margin for error is going to be pretty small in that game. So we're going to come out ready to play and see what we can do. And it's a great opportunity for our guys to play in that kind of setting, get ESPN3, play against Division I. They have a nice arena down there in Lexington. So it's a good opportunity. So we have to just make the most of it.
Yeah, I know right after that you'll roll right into some important conference games, including a rivalry game against EMU. So good luck with the next couple of weeks, and we'll check back in January.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jimmy.